Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Worthy, Worth, and Priceless. I am your host, Tammy Simmons, and this episode is titled Be Ye Separated. So this morning, as I was I was making a steak bagel, and it's almost done or whatever, and I'm about to put the cheese on, all the good stuff. Next thing I know is, like, as I'm separating it and kinda, like, pulling it apart, because it's kinda like one of those steaks where you can kinda, like, pull it apart and look in between or whatever. As I'm pulling it apart, I'm seeing that there's pieces that's still a little red, and I'm like, "Oh, no." You know what I mean? Like, it's time for the cheese or whatever, but I had to separate a part of it so I could put the cheese on, and so that basically the rest of the steak didn't burn, if you know how that goes. And it reminded me also of a dream I just recently had. And I'm not sure if I shared it here. I know I shared it on other social media platforms, but in that dream, there was people. I was watching people as they were running. Some people were running with the kids and all these different things. And they were just running in this direction. They were just gone. Then there was another group of people, and they were warning other people. They were talking to them, trying to get the other people to get on board. And then there was another group of people, and in that group of people, they were actually going to the club, feeling as though they still had time, all this different things. And I had this dream, I think maybe 2 or 3 times in that night. And what it reminded me of, oh, sorry, Jesus or God had come back faster than anybody expected, and that's what there were people who were ready to go, there's other people trying to get other people to go with them, and then there was the other people who were like, "We still have time." But with, the state situation and all of that, it reminded me of that same thing. You have to come out from among the people who are not ready. God is transitioning you to that next phase and that next place in life. And it's time for you to do what you have to do and go. You can't sit here and wait for the next person to be ready because they may never be ready. In 2026, I know for me, I don't know for anybody else, but I feel as though, for the most part, I've warned people enough as much as I can, but it's time for me to actually start doing what I need to do. I've warned people enough. I've given people, I obviously do encouragement. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about certain people around me. Now, I've given you as much as encouragement as I can, and I see that you just keep going back to what you're doing. And it's not for me to make you change. You're not supposed to change because I said something to you. But it is the point of realizing and seeing that some people aren't going to change. And it may not be their time, but it is my time. It is time for me to transition. It is time for me to transition. It is time for me to get to where God has called me to be. And so that is the encouragement that I want to give you. Everybody may not be ready. Everybody may not be ready on the same time that you are ready. But if God has called you to transition and get to that next place, I encourage you to do it. Separate yourself from the people who are not ready. Separate yourself from the people who are not there yet. Time waits for nobody. It is your time to do what God has called you to do. This is not time for you to sit with people who are not ready. Come out from among them. You know that they're not going to move. You know they're not going to do what God has called them to do. You may see the potential, excuse me, you may see the potential in that person, but doesn't mean that they see that potential, and even if they do see that potential, it doesn't mean that they're gonna move, and it's not your place to make them move. You are not their God. You are not their savior. You may be a messenger that somebody or that God has used, but it doesn't mean that it is your job to make them move. All your job is to do is give them whatever light God told you to give them. But when that assignment is over and when God is moving you to that next place, you need to go there quick, fast, and in a hurry. We are not missing God in this season. We're not playing with God in this season. We are doing what God has called us to do without fear. And if you do have fear, pray to God about that fear. But it's time for your voice to be heard, your talents to be used, whatever God has placed on the inside of you. If it is for you to transition and change and move, it is time for you to do that now. No more waiting, no more delayed. Come out from among them. God has your back. Love you guys.